Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Derbyshire Dales series. The Dales contain some of the most beautiful British scenery. It's a magnificent area. Here's one of its 109 civil parishes. Welcome back to the Derbyshire Dales again, everybody. Now, the last three episodes we've seen have all been high up in the hills. Well, now we've come down off the hills, and this is in one of the valleys. This is a lovely little place. I can't get enough of it already. I've only been here for 5 minutes. Its name is Foolow. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Foolow, Bird Hill. Hello again, Derbyshire Dales people. This week we're in a place called Foolow, a pretty village that lies just to the west of Eyam and south of those big hills we've been exploring recently. It makes a change to be in a valley. That said, we are still pretty high up in the hills even here. Foolow is a traditional upland village on the fringe of the White Peak. It's surrounded by a patchwork of rich pasture, segregated by mile upon mile of dry stone walls, meticulously constructed from chunks of limestone. Most of the houses within it are all limestone too. Unlike previous recent episodes, here we have a lot more to look at. Foolow may not have everything, but it does feature two pubs, one in the main village and the other in a place called Bretton. It's the latter of those two which attracts far more people, owing mainly to its location. We'll see why in a bit. Foolow also has a church dedicated to St Hugh, a small former chapel and a medieval cross. There's even a campsite nearby too. Leadmining was a major occupation for people in this area up until the 18th century, but now it's all gone and farming is the main local trade. However, south of the village are the remains of Watergrove lead mine, which ironically had issues with water. Let's dive in, pun intended, and check it all out. We start on an unnamed road that runs between the centre of Foolow and the Hamlet of Howley on the A623 between Tideswell and Eyam. It might be small with a population of less than 100 people, but Foolow is an attractive little village dominated by limestone cottages. Not all of these houses, though, are houses. Look closely and you'll spot the ones which are holiday lets, like this one here for example. Both amateur and professional photographers are often seen in this village because its beautiful buildings are perfect for tourist information publications. This amateur cameraman certainly agreed. At the end of the road is the phone box, which doesn't look very used these days. However, the thing right next to the box definitely is. Foolow is served by 3 buses, all of which stop here. The number 257B and 65 both go to Sheffield, whilst the number 66 connects Foolow to Chesterfield. Across the road is the Bull's Head Inn, the lone survivor of the 5 pubs Foolow village once had. It gets its name thanks to a bull ring on the village green where animals would have been tethered before being set upon by dogs. This practice was called bull baiting and it was made illegal in 1835. Heading towards the green, you pass an old chapel on the right-hand side. This was a Wesleyan Reform chapel and it was built in 1866. Commonly known as Foolow Chapel, it was the last of the non-conformist buildings in the village to close. Behind it is Burdekin Hall, a small community building. Both of those buildings are within Foolow's conservation area, which covers the entire village centre. And it's a good thing it's kept looking nice too. This pretty and very traditional limestone village attracts many tourists in the summer months. People like me, I guess. Next we have St Hugh's Church. Originally a smithy, this became a mission church in the late 1800s, and the first service was held here in December 1888. In the following year, the chancel was added to the building. The porch would be added some years later. There's not much more to the church than that, but if you're interested, there's an information board on an exterior wall which tells you a bit about St Hugh. A little look around the walls in here also revealed some local names. This plaque tells us about Lord Brian Morris of Castlemore, in whose memory the church bell was restored in 2003. So this is one of those churches that's always open for walkers, cyclists and visitors, and if you do call in, there are refreshments available here. So we've got some tea, we've got some coffee and some biscuits. Let's see what we've got biscuits wise. Let's see. Belmont Crumbly Oaties. I prefer them to the other option, which is in this little tub, and that is malted milk. I'm not a big fan of those, but Oaties, yeah, don't mind if I do, quite frankly. Still got a bit of walking to do on this route, so a bit more energy will help, won't it? On leaving the church, I had a quick look up Bradshaw Lane. This road runs north away from Foolow and up a steep valley side to a place called Bretton. It has just 5 properties, but one of them falls within Foolow's boundaries, and it just so happens to be the most important one. We'll catch it later. If you were to continue heading west through Foolow, you'd come to Grindlow, which I'm sure you all remember from a previous episode. There's not a lot more that way, so this is our turnaround point. We're heading for the village green now, where there's a couple of great landmarks, as well as that bullring. One of them is the village pond. Centuries ago, this would have provided not only the water for the village, but for cattle and livestock as well. Next to it, there's a big stone well or something similar. I suppose they'll dress it out here if it is a well. This is Derbyshire after all. Adjacent to the green are several massive houses. That one there is the manor house. It's 18th or early 19th century and grade 2 listed. Foolow has 10 listed buildings in total. The old hall is another one. This is 17th century and is considered to be of an irregular construction. You've got to love a bit of rural quirkiness, haven't you? The green itself features a couple of things. Firstly, there's a tree which was planted to commemorate the Queen's Golden Jubilee. Close by is a medieval cross, similar to one we've yet to encounter at nearby Weston. It's a grade 2 listed structure, and historians believe this is 15th century. It carries an inscription from 1868. That's the year when it was moved from the site of the Wesleyan Reform Chapel and its shaft was replaced. And lastly, on the other side of the green are 2 post boxes, one Victorian, the other more modern. Now, let's go for a little drive to Howley. South of the village is the Hamlet of Howley. The parish boundary is a little weird here. It includes most of the houses in the settlement, but not all of the land. There aren't many houses here, just a collection of cottages that sit on an unnamed road between Foolow and the A623. The boundary definitely does, though, include all of Brosterfield Farm. That's where this little track is taking us. Now, as we know already, visitors to Foolow can stay in the village in that B&B we saw earlier. The Brosterfield Farm complex has at least 4 other holiday lets all clustered together. There's also a caravan park. It was all originally run back in the 1970s as an addition to Brosterfield Farm, which was working at the time but ceased trading in 2003. Now, with new owners who bought the farm in 2009, Brosterfield has been brought back to life. They bought the caravan site at the end of 2022 and have developed a small, low-key, suitable site for just about anyone. Now that's all well and good, but Howley has something else which is much more important from a historical standpoint. The A623 is the main road between Foolow and Tideswell. If you get yourself onto that at this point, you'll see what remains of Foolow's largest lead mine, Watergrove. Let's check out what's left of it today. Lead mining was a major occupation in Foolow, and Watergrove mine was active from the middle of the 18th century up until 1853. Water, ironically, was always a major problem for this mine. Both sows and engines were used to pump it away. Until 1960, the 80-foot tall chimney of a Fairbrother beam engine could be seen here, but it's since been taken down. It's probable that mining, whether for lead or other minerals, has been an occupation for the people of Foolow since at least the 15th century. North of Foolow, there are several hillocks that mark the sites of other mines. Lastly, we come to Bretton, which we mentioned earlier. That there is the Barrel Inn, the only part of Bretton that falls within Foolow Parish. However, that pub is well worth coming to. It dates back to 1597 and has a claim to fame for being the highest pub in Derbyshire, standing as it does 1,300 feet above sea level. That's almost 400 metres. The pub's car park across the road proves this fact in a glorious way. Park here and you'll be met with an absolutely stunning panoramic view over the valley in which Foolow lies, although you can see much further into the distance than that. On a clear day, you can see 5 different counties. Well, that little car park might be for the Barrel's patrons only, but the road is fair game. So I've pulled the car just beyond it so we can admire a bit more of this view. Would you take a look at this? This is absolutely gorgeous. Peak Derbyshire Dales, friends. And I use the word peak because obviously we are in the Peak District. Isn't it fantastic? Living in Derbyshire must be one of the greatest things you can ever do. I still prefer Lincolnshire myself, but hey, we're in Derbyshire today, so yeah, Derbyshire's beautiful, isn't it? Now, there is, up here towards the Barrel, a little information board, I think. I'm not totally sure what it is, but we'll wander across to it and have a look and see what it is. It might be one of those things that shows you what you can see in the distance. I forget the name of them offhand, but I know we've seen a couple of them before on our travels. Let's see what it is. And it is, yes, there's a little map here which shows you what you can see. So across to the left, you've got Stony Middleton Quarry, Chatsworth, Ryber Castle, Blackhole Mine, Shepherd's Flat Farm, Cavendish Mill, and London, 142 miles away. I don't think you can see London somehow over there, but it's over there apparently, 142 miles away. And then on the right, you've got things like Wardlow, Foolow, obviously, Cressbrook Dale, Peter's Stone. What's Peter's Stone, I wonder? We haven't come across that anywhere yet. I'm sure we will in the future. And in the middle, you've got some waterfalls and Castlegate Stud Farm. Somewhere there. I think you need good eyes, don't you? It's a good day today. The sun's out and it's not raining at the moment, so that's a good thing. But you definitely do need a good pair of eyes to see all those landmarks, I think. Well worth coming to the Barrel though to try and have a look yourself, isn't it? There's obviously a bit of history here too. Here, look, you can see the Barrel Inn is the highest pub in Derbyshire, 380 metres above sea level. Quite amazing that when you think about it. We are a long way up in the peaks here. Always worth having a read of these things because you never know what little tidbits of information they're going to provide you. And it's a beautiful view too. Now, to finish off, we need to drive down this road which the Barrel Inn is on. Now you see, the Barrel is the only part of Bretton that's actually within Foolow Parish, and everything I'm going to be doing from now on along this road is not. But it makes more sense to cover it here than in the actual episode it belongs to. This road is actually a really important one, and we'll discuss why as we drive along it. So what's so special about this road then? Well, it was formerly a packhorse route that formed part of the complex system of saltways that crossed the peak between Cheshire, South Yorkshire and the east coast. Its name, though, is a curious one. This is Sir William Hill Road, but it's got nothing to do with the betting company of the same name. Instead, it has everything to do with the landscape. Sir William is the name of the actual hill we're on. Nobody knows, though, which Sir William this was named after. There are several theories. Sir William Cavendish and Sir William Bagshaw are candidates, but Sir William Peveril, the natural son of William the Conqueror, is perhaps the best bet. And yes, that pun was intended. Peveril was such an important man, it's very likely he could have left some lasting impression on the place names of the area. We'll also be meeting a pub soon in Grindleford which has the same name. That's it for now though, I'll see you all down the road. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.